So a folk who thought it would be a good idea to hit another human being with a hammer has been sentenced to 14 years in prison because this is what insane people do. 22-year-old Danial Qureshi needs to understand the social standings we have in society. There's the age-old saying, respect your elders, and this is something he did not do. So during the incident in Charter Avenue, Ilford, East London, Danial Qureshi got mad, and in response he took out a hammer and struck the 29-year-old victim in the head. Blow after blow after blow after blow. The attack took place just after 10 p.m. in April of last year. The attack was so vicious that the victim suffered a fractured skull, bleed to the brain, and has now suffered permanent damage that has in part resulted in the loss of hearing in his right ear. Again, because Danial Qureshi is so insane, he left the victim for dead until a good Samaritan dialed 999 and called for the emergency services to the scene. The emergency services rushed to the scene and found the victim suffering from very serious injuries, as you can well imagine. Once in stable enough condition, the London ambulance services rushed the victim to a nearby hospital. Now, this was attempted murder, plain and simple. I mean, it's actually a miracle that the victim survived. Now, if anyone has seen someone get hit in the head, then you know there's a number of serious things that can happen to that person. So any type of force by hand to the brain is capable of rattling your brain inside your head. That type of injury can result in bruising, broken blood vessels, or nerve damage. Now take a hammer and amplify that same force tenfold or even 20-fold, depending on the force used, and imagine what that could do to a person. Now with the hammer attack, the skull was literally cracked and the bone was pushed down into the brain, and once that happens, you would likely end up in a coma or even death. Again, this is why I'm saying that 22-year-old Danial Qureshi is lucky that he is not a convicted murderer right now, because by swinging a hammer into someone's skull, that is no accident. That is the action of a high-rate person who cannot control their emotions, whether that be rightly or wrongly. It's also worth noting that 2 other men were convicted in relation to this crime at Woolwich Crown Court, but they have not been identified. Only Danial Qureshi is the person that was named. So after a unanimous guilty verdict, the 22-year-old deranged individual, whom has obvious anger issues, was charged with attempted murder and possession of an offensive weapon. Now, when people commit a serious crime, first you have to think, does the means justify the ends? Because if you're about to potentially kill someone because they smoked your last cigarette or they wouldn't share their last can of lager with you, then there's actually no help for you. Life must be really hard, and it's best that you just sit down in prison for a very long time, because quite frankly, you are a danger to every individual that just wants to live their life. But on the off chance that there's more to the story and Danial Qureshi's actions were warranted, then I guess he's very accepting of the sentence he has received. And as a nobody other than a spectator, all I can say is I hope the victim is able to hear out of his right ear again. Safe.